What is holding you back from having a fulfilled life? I'm just going to share something with you that Wayne Dyer says. With everything that has happened to you in your life, you can either feel sorry for yourself or you can treat what has happened to you as a gift. Everything is either an opportunity to grow or an obstacle to keep you from growing. You get to choose. So if we have a choice, why is it that a lot of us aren't living fulfilled, abundant lives? Why is it that we're choosing to hold back from a life that we truly want? That is what we're going to be talking about today on this video. Before we do go into that, if you like this video and this channel, please don't forget to hit the subscribe button and the bell icon, which will notify you when I'm posting my videos, which is every Monday, Wednesday and Friday. For those of you that are new, this channel is a coaching channel where I share my knowledge, my advice through my authentic experiences and years of coaching on how you can transform your life to create a life that you truly love, a life that you deserve and desire, how you can embrace a new way of living confidently, becoming that high-performing, successful person that you've always wanted to be, how you can learn to be the leader of your life rather than allowing life to lead you, and fundamentally how you can have a life on your terms. So why is it that we choose to hold ourselves back from having a life that we truly want? Now, throughout the years of my experience, there is one word that is stopping us from getting what we deserve and desire and having what we deserve and desire, and that is fear. Fear. Now, fear is fantastic if you're in a dangerous situation. You know, we need that fear, that fight or flight to kick in, because that will ultimately save our lives. But the fear that we have is a similar feeling, and it's there to protect us and to keep us safe and comfortable where we are. Now, when you have fear, a negative voice or a voice that is controlling you to keep safe and just to stay comfortable and don't challenge the status quo, and you know, everything's okay, you know, life isn't bad, and on top of that you then have an assumption that it will all go wrong anyway, that you're making the wrong decision if you make that decision, that you'll fail, that you won't meet the love of your life eventually, that you won't have that dream job, that, you know, you'll get the job and then they'll make you redundant, whatever it is, you're putting an assumption on it. So having that feeling of fear and then having the negative voice wanting to kind of keep you safe and secure with what you know. And then on top of that, creating a story, an assumption, which is negative, is what is holding you back from having a life that is fulfilled. Now, an assumption is something that is accepted as true without any proof. An assumption is accepted as true without any proof. But we choose to put a negative assumption on things because that then aligns with that fear factor and that negative voice to keep us safe and secure, rather than going for the life that we want, which might be more challenging to start with, might be a little bit scary because it is slightly unknown. So how do we get over that hurdle? How do we start to live a fulfilled life? Because we're all worth it. We're all amazing. We're all lovable. We're all deserving. You know, we're all worth that life, that fulfilled life in whatever area that it is that you want that in, that's lacking at the moment, or that life that you dream of. So how can we get over that? Well, there is a few steps I'm going to share with you, and I'll give you some very brief examples. Number one, you do the work on yourself. You start to show up whole in your life. You start to feel whole in here, and you do the work. You can do that through a coach. You can do that through resources, through reading, through understanding how the mind works. There is a variety of resources on YouTube, in books. And if you want to know what types of books that you can read to help you, then please comment below and I'll list some books that I've read that have been extremely empowering to me and transforming my life. Having a coach as well, having somebody to listen to you. For me, that was fundamentally important, having somebody to listen to me about how I was feeling about things. And playing that devil's advocate, well, what if you had a job that only paid this, but it meant that you were going to get this eventually? What if you did this? What if, it's having the bucket load of resources that is at your fingertips to help you to create a life that you truly love and deserve, through understanding that you're worth it, that you're valuable, that you're somebody in this world, that you are deserving just like anybody else. And through mindset shifts, through changing how you're showing up in the world, can start that process to create the life that you truly deserve and desire, and to let go of that fear and that negative assumption setting. So that's number one, it's doing the work. Number two, why assume the worst when it could be the best? So when we are looking at a situation, so I'm going to take a loving situation. So I let go of a loving relationship, somebody that I loved wholeheartedly, out of my life, because in the end, we weren't compatible. Now, that's quite a scary thing to do, to walk away from a relationship, from somebody that you've been with for 5 years. Fundamentally, I started to do two things. Number one was I started to assume something better for myself. I started to think about what my life could be like if I met somebody that, wanted to spend more time with me, that wanted to do more things with me, that wanted to have, put our holidays first, that wanted to be adventurous and have, weekends away, or, somebody that wanted to show up in my life kind, but I wanted to be in a relationship where I didn't feel lonely as friggin' hell. I wanted to feel in a relationship. I wanted to be in a relationship where I didn't feel lonely. So there are fundamentally lots of reasons why. So I looked at where I was. Now, I could have created assumptions that no one's ever going to love me again. I'm never going to get what I want in a relationship. No one's ever going to want me. I could have done all of that. And for years, I probably was doing that in a variety of different relationships, which is why I stayed too long. But when I started to show up whole, understanding what I wanted, what I needed, what was right for me, I was then able to open my eyes. I was aware of where I was and where I wanted to be. And because I was showing up whole, I had a belief, a fundamental, deep-rooted belief that I was worth more than that. So, and I looked at the evidence of what other people had, and I was, I'm going to have that, I'm going to have that, I'm going to have that, I'm going to have that. So I bundled the evidence with showing up whole, with creating positive assumptions of what I was worth, that combined together gave me the strength to walk away from a relationship that wasn't serving me. And, the fear of, oh, well, I'll be on my own. Well, yeah, I am on my own at the moment. I am. And that's okay, because I'm not lonely, and I don't have anxieties, and I don't have the roller coaster upsets that I was experiencing in this relationship, because I now show up whole, showing up exactly how I want to in the world, and understanding that, that I am worth something more. So I was able to put positive assumptions, release the fear, let go of something that didn't serve me, showing up whole. I've created space for somebody now to come into my life. That's just one example of what I was able to do in a relationship. And I've done that with a job as well recently, where I looked at the job, it wasn't serving me, and I held on and held on and held on for far too long. And the evidence was I was miserable, I was unhappy, and I had a lot of anxieties with that job. and you know, my best just didn't seem to be, you know, good enough. So I looked at how I was feeling, what I was doing, and I made a decision that this was not acceptable for me any longer, to not just be in a job that wasn't fulfilling, but for me to feel like that I was worth more than having these feelings. So I let go of the assumption that I would never be able to get another job, that, you know, no one else will ever want to hire me in the corporate world, that I you know, I wasn't good enough, I wasn't successful, so, you know, no one's going to want me, and, you know, I'm going to lose my house and everything's going to go to put, and I'm going to have no money. You know, I because these things do flash in your mind, but I was able to park it, let it go. I then remembered that I'm now whole. I show up whole. This is me. And this is me putting my needs and my desires first to live a life that I truly want to live. And fundamentally, that is happy. That is happy and fulfilled. I look back at the evidence. So I'm creating evidence from my past to be able to say, well, actually, I've been through a lot of obstacles in my life and I've always come through and things have always worked out for me. And it's even been better. So I've got evidence to back it up, that when I put positive assumptions against what I'm doing, I'm leaving this job to open up a space for the right role to come to me. And with that, you know, I know that everything always works out for me, and whatever happens, I know I'm going to be okay mantra that I also have. I was able to leave a job that I wasn't fulfilled in and set up a business. I just thought, you know, this is perfect timing. You know, this is perfect timing for me to see if this can work, to see if I can actually share my authenticity, my advice with people and help people have more fulfilling lives like I have now. So that's why I've created As a Pennies Drop. So this is what happens. So when you do the work, you've got evidence, you have positive assumptions, you can strive forwards knowing that everything is always working out. Everything is always working out for you. Everything is always working out for you. You just have to look at your past and the things that you've gone through so that everything is always working out for you. Now, they're just two examples that I've shared with you. So yeah, this is basically why we hold ourselves back through fear and how we can release that through working on ourselves, through creating positive assumptions and believing that with the evidence as well, that whatever happens, we will be okay. Whatever happens, we will be okay. So yeah, that in a nutshell is why we hold ourselves back and how we can release that fear and the negative assumptions to start to create and transform our life to have a life fulfilled. So I really hope that's helped as always and given you some value or a lot of value. Please feel free to comment below. If you're interested in any of the books that I've read, I'm happy to share that on here as well. So yeah, that's it for today. Take care and I'll see you soon.